If you're a veteran Project Zomboid player that's been in the community for quite some time, or you've just been playing for the last few months, I think you'll agree with me when I say we're all feeling the weight for Build 42. You might be struggling to find ways to play that still keep you interested, you might be taking a break from the game altogether like so many of you folks in my comments have said in the past, and honestly, I can't really blame you. As a content creator that is mainly focused on making videos for Project Zomboid, I understand where you're coming from, and whilst I'll continue to try to make videos about the modding community and different ways to play that might give you a new lease of life or spur you to try another playthrough, that's not what today's video is about. Instead, I want to take a look at something you might not even realize Project Zomboid has offered you, how it has definitely affected me, and how it might be affecting you too, without even knowing it. My recent narrative videos that attempt to take you on a bit more of a journey of some kind have actually proven really quite popular, especially when they involve my duo partner Loushy, who I actually had the absolute pleasure of meeting for the first time in person recently on a trip to the States, which was really pretty cool. I know a lot of you guys have been following that journey, so I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for all of your support. So anyway, if you enjoyed those videos with me and Loushy, you'll be pleased to know that she's going to be in this one later on as well, and I'll share some raw gameplay of us exploring a modded map all the way back in February earlier this year. Now, why did I decide to make this video? Well, as some of you folks know, I host a multiplayer server for Project Zomboid for my Patreon subscribers, and earlier this year we decided to do one of our monthly wipes on a map called Lost Province that's been built to emulate Prince Edward Island. And whilst I did have a good time, I also found that the map wasn't really for me. It had a lot of points that I thought could have been improved, and this kind of just resulted in me finding I didn't really like it in its current state. On top of that, we were running a Vanilla Plus mod pack that I'd been using for months. It wasn't really anything new for me and wasn't anything exciting. Despite this though, I was having a great time, even though I didn't like the map and I'd seen all these mods before, and that prompted me to ask myself, why? Why was I having such a good time in a less than optimal setting? The conclusion I came to was actually pretty simple. Project Zomboid offers us an absolute myriad of ways to express ourselves in the way we choose to play, and in this playthrough, I think I really honed in on that. It might be the way we choose to start our playthrough with a different character build, a different occupation, or it might be in the way we choose to approach survival, from nomad runs where we're primarily living out of a car to playthroughs where we build our own base from scratch, or the more usual standard where we pick a safe house and refit it to our needs. Beyond that though, I think there's a deeper level of truly being able to show the kind of person you are through your actions in PZ. Some people are builders that like to create sprawling bases and push the construction system within the game to create a true post-apocalypse paradise. Others prefer to be the person going out and fighting zombies, gathering up important supplies, whether that's through the use of melee weapons or you're a firearms enthusiast. Some, on the other hand, like my duo partner especially, place a lot of weight on aesthetics, and even that comes in many forms, like choosing whether to dress up your character in items that look the part, or going for something kind of crazy and outlandish in your appearance instead. The same applies to your safe house, where you can either build it for functionality, or you can make it look properly lived in with the creative placement of items around your environment. This even extends to the way we store loot, whether that's in organized containers or just chaotic dumping of loot onto the floor in piles. My point here is that Project Zomboid offers ways to express creativity that many other games simply cannot even hope to match, and that's without talking about roleplay servers or the modding community, which is huge by the way. Every single decision we make, right down to where we put items, is one that tells us something about you, the player. Having this kind of depth when it comes to creative expression is, I believe, a large part of why many people play that they may not even really think about. Now, here's where I bring in my own experience that you're going to see unfold in the gameplay segment of this video, and I think this is why I enjoyed this wipe so much. We had decided to make a safe house in a pretty bland building at the edge of a lake, and we had to fight to secure it. You might remember that from a previous video I did a couple of months ago, but don't worry, you won't need to have seen it to understand this story. Loushy and I usually got together for games on weekends, and we had a stream together coming up for the next one. So I decided to take it upon myself to organize a little surprise. You might remember when I mentioned earlier that this video was recorded back in February, and what happens in February? Valentine's Day. Now, I will warn you now, you're either going to find this really wholesome and charming, or you're probably going to cringe a whole lot, but I think it's a genuinely perfect example of how Project Zomboid allowed me to express myself in a creative way and just thank someone who's very dear to me for their input in my life using a game that's close to both of our hearts. Just to help emphasize how much work went into this as well, I'll make sure we bring up a couple of before and after comparisons during that segment of the gameplay. Anyway, that's it from me yapping on in this one, but I hope the message I brought to you guys today has landed, and if you still don't really get what I'm going for here, hopefully this gameplay really helps that sink in. Without further ado, I'll let you guys watch the little surprise I'd got together for Loushy and some of the gameplay antics that unfolded thereafter. Enjoy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
What's up?
Right, so first thing, I've done some stuff in prep for today, chat. So what I've done is I figured it's a few days before Valentine's, right? So we're gonna do some chill activities today. We've got some things planned, some romantic stuff for you guys. Yep, prepare yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I made a garden.
You made a garden?
Look.
Chairs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We've got beach chairs. We've got beer, and I found us an extra fishing rod as well. So we've both got one now, rather than just the one.
How much were you playing?
I was on.
Oh my god, this looks amazing.
So grab yourself a fishing rod.
This is lovely. I love the little pier, and it's all protected, and zombies aren't gonna get us while we're fishing.
Didn't say anything about the gnome though. Got us a gnome.
No, sorry, I do love the gnome. The gnome is good. I don't remember the gnome's name at this moment.
I think it's Dave. Dave the gnome. It's not exactly the weather I was hoping for, to be honest. It does need to be sunny. I mean, I can change the weather. But the problem is, if I change the weather, I have to remember to turn it back afterwards, because otherwise the weather will be like that forever.
Oh no, and it'll be forever sunny and happy. What a horrible thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
We hate that.
In one of the vanilla maps of the modded. So this is Lost Province. It is a map based on Prince Edward Island, which is
In Canada.
Yes.
I'm on the complete opposite side of the country, so I don't think about, like, the East Coast very often.
Mm-hmm. That's like me in the north of England, really. Do you know we have a sign? There's literally this big sign on one of our major, like, motorways, highways out here, that just reads the north. That's it. Like,
oh, just
it's
a warning.
just the north. Like, it is a warning because anyone past that sign is a heathen. But as anybody from that area of the UK will tell you,
is England big enough to have like
to have what compass bearings?
No. I just mean, like, you know, in my mind, I guess England is small, but it's probably not as small as it is in my head. But like, how long does it take to like drive across it?
Okay, so it takes a bit longer to travel in the UK than you might think, because we didn't build our roads like you guys did. So you guys built like very straight roads. Ours are quite windy because it was all built like off of old Roman roads.
Here, I can like drive east for like 4 days and still be in Canada.
Well.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just said like... somebody said something about England being small or whatever, and I think Ryan's just come out with the comment of England has great technique, though. It's not about the size, it's how you use it, right? Is that it? Alright, let's put the fishing rods down. I have like 5 pairs of socks and 3 pairs of shoes from that.
I have a lot of socks, yeah. I didn't realize they were going into my main inventory.
I mean, I'm glad you caught some actual food, because, like, I didn't.
Yeah, no, look at this thing. This is gonna feed a small army, I promise you.
Holy crap. How big is that thing? What the? 100 hunger? How did you catch this thing? You just casually reeled this in? Like...
Yeah. I'm immediately encumbered when I hold it.
Okay, so Chat, I have planned a little bit of a surprise for Loushy. She hasn't been in the safe house since I started all of this, all right? I've done 2 of the rooms. I haven't done them all because I didn't want to deprive you of doing some stuff yourself. But if you'll follow me, I have given the main room a bit of a makeover.
Oh, those actual walls now?
Yeah, there's not just the plasterboard stuff that we had up before.
Oh.
And then if you will follow me, after you, madam.
Oh. So, wait, this is an extra room. I just realized you divided that room in half.
Yeah, I divided the rooms in half so that there's 2 rooms now. And we've got a little setup going. So I have starters, main. I don't have a dessert plan, but I figured probably our characters are going to be full after the starters and the main anyway. So
amazing! Oh my gosh!
It's for I mean, it's 4 days from Valentine's, chat. I had to do something. All right. So, okay. So, feel free to take a seat wherever you like. Don't mind the bustling flowers. Sorry, that was not part of the plan. And annoyingly, you can't place the soup on the plate, although it just goes through it. So it doesn't really work. But yeah, the whole point was Valentine's in the apocalypse. So I have a
I'm honored.
And this isn't everything. So I have been speaking, chat, right. I have been speaking with a very prominent person in the Project Zomboid community. They are an artist in the Project Zomboid community called DaFox. I think he's still lurking in chat. I think DaFox named this To the Apocalypse, but this is the piece that DaFox has had drawn up for us, which is absolutely nailed.
Oh my god.
We've got the jukebox in the background, there's the soup and stuff, like...
Oh, god. This is so sweet. Is this what your personal project was?
Yes, this was the personal project.
You kept being like, oh yeah, I'm working on my personal project. I'm like, that's weird that he's not telling me about something, because you usually share so much. Like, I usually know everything going on in your life.
Yeah, I mean, me and DeFox have been back and forth a few times, like, working out, like, what we want. Stuff. So I'd just like to say a very special thank you to DaFox. He has dropped his Twitter link in the chat above if you want to check out his stuff. Great artist. He's done some stuff for us before. Awesome dude. Well worth supporting. Please do go and check him out.
Full steaks in the apocalypse?
Yep.
Now this is a treat.
Steak and carrots and got one other thing. Gotta heat it up as well. So bad. You can rate the restaurant 3 out of 5 or something later. It's knock down a couple stars.
Oh, I've already rated it 1.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
So you start at 1 and then you earn the stars.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay, I see. I've only earned 1?
No, you started with 1.
Oh, wait.
I hope you don't mind if my friend joins us.
Wait. Who? Sorry?
The catfish.
The
on
catfish? Jesus Christ. You're an absolute menace. It's just in the middle of the carpet. It's my nice carpet.
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't have a seat for him.
You want? Okay, he joins us at the table. Sure. The catfish joins us at the table.
Once you make a baked potato, can you put stuff on it? Wait, I also have the crafting menu.
They say cockroaches are the only things that can survive a nuclear blast. So, wouldn't you feel a little safer if you had the first half of the word in you?
No, that's so bad. Thanks for the 100 bits, Melon.
Blocked and reported.
I love how you're sat like sideways on your chair right now as well, by the way.
Oh,
my character's getting bored as well, which is not
like
a great
my
sign.
character is like second level of boredom, and I'm like, okay, well, you're exaggerating a little, honey. He's not that bad.
Alright, you want to go get the van? Did you want to do that now, or do you want to wait till it stops raining, or like what's...
Let's wait till the light's back a little bit, because...
Okay. We have an axe and a saw now, right?
Yes, we do.
So why don't we light up those trees a little bit, and then we'll cut down some trees, get some wood, and then look at maybe building like that storage cabinet or something. I know a couple of people that like to collect like
the plushies. They're very important to me.
Can I follow you home? Cause my parents always told me to follow my dreams.
That's pretty good. I like that one. That one's pretty tame for you, Ellen. I like that one.
That's a cute one.
I like this one. You must be a generator mag, because I feel like I've been searching for you for years. Alright, so we're gonna go head out and try and retrieve Loushy's lost van. I didn't crash this one. It wasn't my fault.
No.
Nothing to do with me.
She just gave up. I didn't even hit anything. I just like been driving so much. There she is!
Okay, let's see if I can pull up out in front of it.
You might need to center a bit more. Sorry, I don't mean to backseat drive.
Wow. Are you gonna tell me how to drive now? We're about to have our first fight. You tell me how to drive. Okay. It's gonna happen. I will turn this thing around.
I mean, I don't think you actually physically can.
No, probably not, to be fair.
There we go, you did it.
Alright, I'm just gonna... I feel like I should just leave it here, because like, it's not going anywhere else, really. 0% windshield, 2%, engine 60, but look at it, the rest of this is all at like 100%.
Yeah.
What did you hit?
I didn't hit anything, it just gave up.
Well, I mean...
Well, okay, maybe I did hit
this is like you've hit the thing with a baseball bat, like on the front hood, like several times.
That's what happens! That's what happens, Larry! That's what happens, Larry!
And then said, "Oh, it just stopped working." Like, it's just.
I don't think I hit anything like bad. I just took out like a zombie here and there.
GTA, motherfucker! Oh, yeah! 10 points!
It was just like attrition. It's just
Zombie here and there. Just.
I don't want to butcher the catfish yet. I'm kind of emotional.
Are you attached to the catfish? A dead catfish?
Yeah.
Is Loushy is already dead?
No. I really like him.
It's just a massive catfish. Like, why is there a catfish on my kitchen floor?
We're bonding.
So is this one? This one's my side of the bed then, the orange side.
Wait, what? Yeah, I guess. We're just sharing a bed now.
I mean, I'm not sleeping on the floor.
I was gonna bring you a cot, but now I feel like you think that you get like, a people bed, so I don't want to take that away from you.
Wow. You catch that, chat? She's gonna bring me a cot. It's an upgrade from the dog crate. Yeah.
Are we going on an adventure?
Adventure. Okay, let's have a look at the map. Maybe we'll go Slights way and we can explore the town around his little area.
Absolutely. Ooh.
Little fishing dock. Yeah, there's like more over there. Oh, this must be. Is this Slights base? Oh, sorry, chat. I should mention as well. I haven't even mentioned this today because I've been so wrapped up in things. If you're wondering how, like, what server we're playing on, ! Patreon. In chat, it's £3 a month to support on the Patreon. Get access to the server. We do events. We do our own wipes. Different themes. We use the money to go towards mods and stuff as well that we have commissioned specially for the server. Hey Slights, didn't you say you were looking for brown paint? Okay, I'll grab it for you. Don't worry. We'll drop it in. We go around it. Oh wow, that's like a lighthouse up there. Look at that. That's cool. Do you think he built that? I don't know. It almost doesn't look like it's part of the map.
It almost looks like a little wrong.
It almost looks like it's been built. But then the road goes out here. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you going up there?
Very square lighthouse. Yeah. I'm having a look. I was thinking about like claiming a lighthouse as a base and then trying to like each floor is like a different thing.
That'd be cool.
I thought that would be neat, but I couldn't find one that would work. There's a campfire in the middle. What's that all about?
Close enough.
I don't think that's how lighthouses work. I'm no expert, but
yeah, no, they just light a little fire. Good enough.
A leather bomber jacket, eh? Let's see what this looks like. I don't know. Kind of makes me look like I'd be doing 2 + 2 is 4 - 1, that's 3 quick maths, or
The girl told me take off your jacket. I said, babe, man's not hot, never hot.
I look like I'd be selling dodgy DVDs out of a van or something.
You took
Holy shit, people. People exist.
Hello.
Yo.
We've come.
Oh my god, look at you.
We've come to drop off your paint, sir.
Hello. I have goodies for you.
Ooh.
Paint. Yeah, welcome to what's going to be a garage. I'm going to like seal off like half of this parking lot.
The backpack
turn it
is
into a giant
insane.
crafting space.
This is sick. I love what you've done with the vehicles too, like the standardized vehicle upgrade packs. Those are really cool.
I've just been fixing up cool looking vehicles as I see them and then like dropping them off in the map for new players.
Oh, nice. That's a good thing to do.
Dude, so cool.
Yeah, makes it fun. Hey, speaking of, you guys need the engine repaired.
You know, we do on our other van, but not this one.
All good. Next time you're back at base, I can swing by and repair it.
That'd be Loushy would love you for that. Thank you very much. Well, we appreciate it. See you later, bud.
Bye.
What a good egg.
There's fish stew in the glove
Damn
compartment.
girl,
The
I'm
glove
gonna
box.
have to file a complaint. Cause the reverse sirens on that dump truck are busted. Sussy.
Stop it.
Oh, it is claimed.
It is claimed?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm the test.
Roses
You're
are
the
red,
tester.
violets are blue. Sorry about
This
the
little
stain,
house.
that's not glue.
Sorry. For fuck's sake.
You okay?
I think. I'm not sure yet. It worries me that you're a moderator sometimes. Tally is your #1 fan right now. Is Tally watching? I love Tally. Halls has a cat named Tally, and I'm pretty sure it's a Mass Effect reference, right, Halls?
Good, good. Mass Effect is like 50% of my personality. In that game.
Loushy does a great Commander Shepard cosplay, by the way, chat.
Yeah, I made it myself.
It's very good.
Thank you.
Oh, do they have a katana?
Yes, honeys.
Oh, no, it's a,
Oh my God.
It's a fishing rod, I think.
So,
Yeah.
it might be bitten.
Okay. And,
That's all.
And how did that happen?
Yeah, the zombie that snuck up on me.
While you were having a drink. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you might have been nibbled.
yeah, I've been nibbled,
Right. Okay.
but it's fine. We got some time. So, let's enjoy this short time together.
Enjoy it while it lasts. We're gonna have to sit and watch the sunset or something when Loushy finally succumbs to the
Yeah,
virus.
We're gonna have to have like a
Dramatic ending.
last moment.
This is gonna be that part of my life that I never lived out. So we've gotta spawn in some bleach. We're gonna give Loushy a good send off. She's been bitten. Best Valentine's Day gift. Yeah, I've wined and dined her. I've given her. I've gifted her some art, and now I'm gonna gift her a bottle of bleach to drink in front of me. Yeah, like a gentleman.
Like a gentleman.
See if I can pour it into the wine glass. It doesn't look like I can pour it into a wine glass. You're just gonna have to settle for the whole bottle. We don't have to be classy about this, do we? I mean,
No, it's
chug.
This hurts. This hurts.
Oh,
Okay.
we've got the. Have you taken everything off? Just.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want.
You don't want to get your clothes dirty?
Well, I put them down so that next me can get them.
Oh, okay. Here you go.
Put
Enjoy.
those on the floor first. Okay, it's been
It's been
been
great.
real.
Yeah, it's been great.
Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for inviting me on. I'll treasure this forever until the end of my
Chat's
days.
just spamming chug right now. Right, did you drink it?
Yeah,
It's done.
yeah.
All right.
I'm bleeding out so slowly.
Do I need to give you another bottle of bleach?
Oh. I always knew
There we
burpees would
go.
kill me.
She's gone.
All right.
Oh,
remember me as I
good
was.
lord, Loushy.
Angry.
You got your skin went
Wow.
from like a palish skin color to
Yeah, I ugly died.
yeah, now your blood's all over the walls and oh god, I'm there. All this
Thanks,
effort,
bro.
all this work, I just painted the walls.
Yeah, you painted the walls. I painted the walls. Everybody.
Yeah. Oh dear. Right. Alright, chat. I'm gonna wrap things up there, I think. Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Chat, say bye, Loushy. Thank you so much for spending Saturday with me, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, folks. Enjoy. Later. Bye.